Good morning, everybody. You are listening to K-Talk Radio, 1640 AM. This is the show, Utah, Home Sweet Home, and I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki. And today, our very special guest is a friend of mine by the name of Jordan Atkin. Jordan, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Yoshi. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. The pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine, guys. I am very excited. I know little about Jordan's story. I wish I knew more, and I'm excited because I'm about to. I'm about to know more.
How exciting it is.
And Jordan, I don't know. I didn't tell you this. I forgot to tell you, but I filmed a video before you got here because we're recording the show. 1 second. So, Jordan, tell us a little bit about yourself while I hit record on the show.
Sure. Well, my name is Jordan Atkin. I run a small boutique real estate development and investment company here in Salt Lake City, Utah, called TAG SLC. What else do you want to know?
Yes. Okay. So back to sorry about that. I had to hit record.
Technical difficulty live here on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. I looked over the camera to tell Jordan I filmed a video and realized that it wasn't recording. But I filmed a video before Jordan got here because one of the things that I shared on this video that I'll be sharing throughout social media is how impressed I am with how young you are and what you've accomplished in this short period of your youth.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, and so that's why I'm so excited. So here's the little I know about Jordan, and it might not be 100% accurate, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. So Jordan started his real estate career in St. George wholesaling condos.
I was actually a residential real estate agent down in St. George.
Gotcha.
In 2010.
2010, okay. And then you wholesaled condos with your uncle or something?
We flipped them.
Flipped them, okay.
Yep.
Then moved to Salt Lake, started flipping houses, then moved into beautiful high-end flips.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden now you're developing big multifamily. So that I shared that on the video.
Sure.
Because I found that so impressive. Jordan, if you don't mind, well, let's just start. If you could tell us, how did you end up in St. George, and how old were you at the time? Because, like I said, Jordan's young. Like when I read Jordan's resume, I think this is like a 60-year-old dude, right?
Halfway there.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. So I graduated high school in a very small town, Elko, Nevada, right between Salt Lake and Reno.
Nice.
And I pretty much knew throughout high school that I was ready to get out.
Got it.
I had aspirations of playing golf at a competitive, potentially professional level.
Oh, nice.
So after I graduated, I moved down to St. George because there was not as much snow. And I was able to golf kind of year round. So that's why what took me down there. And after having a little bit more exposure than like high school of how good people are, it's like, wow. You may be good compared to your buddies, but you're not going to be the next Tiger Woods. Sorry.
Got it.
So realized I probably needed to get a real job, and that's when I transitioned into real estate. I had little touches of it kind of throughout the years, and I think most people end up being interested in real estate in some capacity, and the barrier of entry was pretty low. It was 2010, and I was like, well, what I hear is there's a financial meltdown going on. It didn't really affect me too much. I was just turned 20 years old, and so decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and get in now while everyone who's been in the business for 30 years is on their way out, and maybe there'll be some room for me.
Right, that's fantastic. What an opportunity.
Oh yeah, it worked out great. It's been one heck of a ride, let me tell you.
Excellent. All right, so now you got your license in St. George. You're a retail real estate agent.
Yep.
Okay, and then you start flipping, and I don't know why I say condos. I remember you saying the word condo once, if I'm not mistaken. Was there houses too?
Yeah, there were houses and condos.
Gotcha.
I was attracted to condos because they were cheaper.
Oh, okay.
You could get one of those for like 30 grand.
That's right.
Starting out, it was like 3,300. Let's go for the cheap one.
Right. That's amazing. Okay, so now you're in St. George, and you've made the decision that obviously you're going to move to Salt Lake. What kind of inspired that decision?
Well, St. George is a much smaller market, and it's more geared toward retirement.
Yeah.
It's certainly not everybody, but it seems like half the people down there are retired. So just didn't have the energy that I was kind of looking for.
Yes.
I'm more up at your level, maybe not quite. I like the action. So to just basically determine that it was probably a little bit too small for me to reach my full potential, so I wanted to kind of try my hand at a bigger place, and I was already licensed in the state of Utah.
Oh, yeah.
The brokerage I was affiliated with had an office up here, so it was a easy transition.
Nice. And was that Century 21?
Yeah, I joined Century 21 just before I moved up here.
Got it. Okay, very cool. So you get to Salt Lake City. What's your game plan at that point? To keep flipping, to be a retail agent? Obviously, development wasn't in the mindset yet, was it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I had grown a pretty successful residential real estate business down south, and knowing how much effort that was going to take to redo that, I had pretty much committed to moving almost exclusively into the investment side.
Got it.
With flipping and rentals, I had some, was doing that, but it wasn't my main focus in St. George. And that's what we, because we were at ground zero, decided that's what how we were going to grow our business.
Awesome. And I listened to a podcast you'd done recently, right? And I loved how you said I'm a family guy, so it resonated with me. Your best friend was your brother, right? And so when you say the word we, are you referring to Caden or somebody else?
We could definitely be Caden. He had moved up to Salt Lake and joined me. He went to the University of Utah, so
nice.
He came up, 3 or 4 months after I did. So that was a huge perk as well of coming to Salt Lake versus the other places that I could have gone.
Oh, right.
And a big part of the we as well is real estate's a team sport.
Yeah.
It is, and there's a lot of people that help me do what I do, both the individuals on my team and home inspectors and contractors and title people. All those people go into the success that guys like us have.
Yes, gotcha. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So now you're flipping, and you've got a portfolio of rentals. Most people that flip real estate don't start flipping high-end homes. They work their way up there. So at what point did you decide, hey man, this entry level is not for me? Because you do beautiful work. Just so everybody knows, I've been to multiple Jordan Atkin projects, and they're like primo, right? They're the ones that everybody fights to buy. So how did you decide this entry level is not for me and make that jump?
It was really twofold. When I moved up here, this was a huge market relative to what I specialized in the west side of St. George, even when I was down there, Santa Clara, Ivins, and so not even the whole city.
Okay.
So when I moved up here, there's 3 million people or something along the Wasatch Front. And
right.
I know guys who flip from Provo to Ogden.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how you could understand all that.
Right.
So I just kind of drove around the Wasatch Front for the first week or so that I was here and found that I really resonated with kind of the old historic Salt Lake City. 9th and 9th, Harvard, Yale type area.
Yeah.
I had never noticed, but never felt like I had exposure to those tree-lined streets, canopying over, Tudor-style brick homes, just nothing I had ever personally experienced. So
right.
Those houses have a tendency to need much more work than something built in 1995, like I was flipping down in St. George, which I was a paint and carpet master. So kind of just the houses that I personally was interested in being involved with.
Yes.
And then 2013, I moved up here in 2013, and 14 wasn't nearly as competitive, but it still felt really competitive in that lower price range.
Got it.
But there were not as many people who were dying to do a $200,000 rehab on a house built in 1890 or something like that.
Right.
So
got it. Interesting. And I love that he just shared like $200,000 just in the remodeling. Just to be clear,
just the remodel.
Yes, this is not. He's not buying it for $200. He buys it and then still dumps $200 into these beautiful houses.
Yeah.
So that's. They're amazing products. Okay, so you then go from there from residential to commercial. Now, and that's your main focus.
Yep.
Commercial now. Can you share a little bit about how you made that jump from residential to commercial? One day you woke up and said, done flipping houses, or how did that happen?
It was a very profound experience. I was actually at the tsunami in South Jordan. I know the exact table. I was sitting there with a business mentor of mine, and I was saying, hey, I feel like I'm having some success doing this, but I know I don't want to have a team, a huge team of 10 people to run these rehabs. I don't really want to do even higher end remodels,
Right.
These are already high enough and, relative to Utah.
Yeah.
So how do I kind of take it to the next level? And his advice was, you need to just do bigger deals.
Got it.
And I was like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do this? How can I go bigger than I already am? Does that mean build more square footage or what?
Yeah.
So I just reflected on that for, probably several months and really tried diving into it. And ultimately realized that I had bigger deals in my portfolio already, and they were multifamily.
Got it.
So instead of one door per roof,
Yes.
I could get 4 doors per roof, and the transaction size was actually larger.
Got it.
But it didn't really have more risk because, when we started remodeling fourplexes, we could keep 3 units rented.
Yes.
And then just remodel one, put a new tenant in that one, and go to the next one.
Oh, okay.
So it actually was I perceived it as a lot less risky as well than flipping a single family home where it's just basically you're bleeding the entire time until you get this big payday at the end.
Right. That makes sense because you get an income on 3 units while you're renovating one. So that is a lot less, like you said, a lot less blood.
yeah. So once I had that epiphany, I said, this is the direction I'm going. We stopped flipping houses immediately, which was again difficult to shut off that income stream. But I knew I wouldn't be able to really become a true multifamily and commercial investor if I was always going to be flipping houses.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that does sound scary to turn off your income to pursue a different income because you don't know the length of time it's going to take before that next income starts coming in.
Oh yeah, and I underestimate it. Let me just tell you.
I've done that. Before too.
It'll be nothing. I'll get paid next month.
Yeah.
No, it took us 8 months or something before we got our first paycheck. So
Gotcha.
It was rough.
It was rough. Gotcha. Okay. So now you are going into multifamily. Can you share with us, for those listeners out there, fourplexes are considered still residential and down. Fourplexes, triplexes, duplexes, still residential multifamily. It's residential lending. But then fiveplexes and up turns into commercial. And Jordan's does a lot of commercial. Can you please tell us the size of your first commercial deal, and then a little bit about the backstory, how you found it, and the numbers, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we made that transition, we did do several smaller deals, but our first 5 or more was a 7-plex in what I would call Sugar House. It's about 13 South 9th East.
Yeah.
And that ad was on KSL. We purchased it in early 2016.
Okay.
So there was just an ad on KSL. I think the guy wanted $550,000 or $575,000. We ended up closing at $525,000.
Oh wow!
On the 7-plex, and it was not in the best of shape. Rents were between I think $475 for the smallest unit up to the 2-bed was a whopping $650. So big numbers there, and we just knew that the demand in that area, we could go in, kind of do our remodel, the same remodeling that we had learned in the high-end residential, and really make this a place that people would now actively choose to live. Gotcha.
So at $525, you could have potentially paid cash for that because that's still in the cash world.
Yeah.
Typically, did you pay cash or did you guys get financing?
We did get financing. So we have a variety of investors, and some people like doing kind of private money loans, or some people might call that hard money loans, and other people want to actively partner with us on these deals. And so we allowed someone to come in. I think they gave us a $400,000 first position private loan, and then me and my partner came in with the remainder in cash, and then funded the remodel with cash as well.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. 7 units. Can you share what the average cost of remodel per unit was, if you don't mind?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I as you know, different investors have different philosophies.
Yeah.
My personal approach is I want to make the property as nice as possible.
Right.
Maybe not without going too overboard, but
Sure.
I would rather err on the side of doing too much than too little.
Got it.
Especially when you think that you might hold on to these for, 3, 5, 10 years or longer.
Right.
I want to make sure that the bones are solid so that a tenant's not calling me in the middle of the night with a problem or having, health and safety concerns.
Right.
So we invested a full about $350,000 into this property, which is a lot. But we put in a new sewer, we put in a new parking lot, new roof, and windows. This is a true gut job where you take it all the way to the studs, had knob and tube wiring, got all that out. All electrical, plumbing, like the whole shebang.
Gotcha.
So it was a big full fire suppression system. It was a big project.
Very cool. So now you've improved it. Now that's the best thing about commercial real estate, right? Is you can force appreciate commercial real estate beyond the comparables of residential neighborhoods that residential have, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's the attractiveness of commercial.
Yep.
Now that you've improved it, you've also increased the income, which increases the value. Do you mind sharing now what the new value of that place was?
Yeah. I want to, for a benefit of the people listening.
Please.
That is a huge benefit. It's what you're buying when you're buying a more commercial asset is an income stream. It's a little mini business, really.
Right.
Each individual apartment is a mini business. So you get your gross rents that come in, and then you have all of the typical expenses. You might have a property management company, your property taxes, your insurance, your maintenance, all that kind of stuff. And once that comes out before debt, I want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
That number gets you your NOI, which is your net operating income.
Right.
And that's what you would expect to earn on the investment if you had paid cash for it and didn't have a loan.
Right.
And then from there, people finance things differently, and that's what gets you to your net cash. So the more you can raise that NOI by either reducing your expenses or growing your rents in some capacity, maybe you put a little planter box and let charge someone $20 to have their own garden. Who knows?
Yeah.
Whatever you can do to drive that top line revenue increases the value of your little mini business.
Love it.
So we started with rents of $500 maybe to $650. Each unit's now over $1,000. Produces for us roughly $75,000 in net operating income.
Nice.
On an annual basis, and we actually received an offer on it for about $1.42 million.
Fantastic.
I think it was earlier this year. We chose to pass.
Great. What is the plan with that property? You'll hold it for another 5, 10?
That's one that's in a long-term partnership where the goal with me and that my partner and investor is to build a passive income stream for their retirement.
Got it.
So given the quality of the location, how much work we put into it, I think it would be difficult for us to replicate that success. So I think as of now, we're just planning on holding on to it.
That's great. And for anyone who's listening to this, because obviously we're filming this and we've been getting quite a bit of views throughout the country through YouTube. So anyone who's listening to this that doesn't know Salt Lake, Sugar House is like the primo of neighborhoods, right? One of the primo of neighborhoods in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
So just to clarify for people that don't know Sugar House, when he says based off the location, it is a supreme, high desirable, very hip, trendy neighborhood, city location. So, okay, very, very cool. So, yeah, I actually had a buddy in Chicago. He lives in Chicago. And I don't really know the backstory about how he did this, but I remember him telling me, this was way back, kind of when, cell phones were becoming more and more of a everyday thing for everybody. He started communicating, I don't know how that happened with cell phone companies, and so then what he ended up doing is getting a cell phone company to put a tower on his multifamily and rented, obviously, the roof to them, and generated the income of that, and increased his NOI, and that he'll probably never sell that one.
Hey, if you want to put me in touch with him, I got a whole slew of them here in Salt Lake. I'd love to try it.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay, so a question that I get asked, Jordan, that I want your opinion on, and I'll get asked this question from like people that come to me for like questions on how to start investing, or just clients that I'm helping. Mm-hmm. And they'll kick around the idea, should I invest my own money and get a small apartment building, and small maybe let's say 4, 5, 6-plex, right? Sure. Could be residential, could be multifamily. Or should I go bigger and get partners? Or does it matter, it's just whatever opportunity comes my way first? Do you have an opinion on smaller, bigger, being the only owner versus partnered?
I do. I think it really depends on what your individual situation is.
Okay.
I feel like here in Utah, people are fairly entrepreneurial. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a high level of I want to do it kind of on my own, and there are benefits of that.
Sure.
If you do a really good project, you get everything.
Right.
But with getting everything, you get everything.
Yeah.
There's no middleman to deal with the property management calls or deal with getting repairs done or this big $350,000 remodel, and then you got to go find the deal and get the loan, and there's a lot that goes into it. So most of the people that come to me for that question are what they're really looking for is passive income.
Got it.
Well, I'm still looking for it. Let me just tell you that.
Yeah.
You can invest. It's a very even rentals is a very active business.
Right.
Yeah. People, the mailbox money, it's tough.
Yes.
So the big perk of investing with other people is you give up control, but what you gain back is your time.
Right.
If you partner up with someone like me or maybe like you,
we're
the ones who are actively out there managing these projects, managing the situations, and the investors can kind of sit back, see the highlights, see the blooper reel.
Right.
But it's a much more passive investment, and you get to plug in to our team. We have long-standing relationships with contractors and property managers and agents to find opportunities and banks to finance them. So the learning curve of coming along with someone who does this as a full-time career,
right?
That's really the benefit. And there's sometimes the returns are the same, maybe worse, but sometimes they could even be better because we spend hours and hours a day screening opportunities and really know what to look for.
It's true. Yeah, great point. Love that point. Okay, awesome. Well, guys, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, it is nightmare story time. Everybody who's ever listened to the show knows I love the nightmare story, Jordan, because I have plenty nightmare stories that I have gone through, right? Yeah. They've been the most beneficial learning experiences than the, home runs. Like, you learn a little bit on a home run, but you learn a lot on a nightmare. And so I prefer to learn from other people's nightmares if possible. If I can learn from someone else's mistake, I'd rather learn from that mistake. So Jordan's going to share a nightmare story with us when we come back. So don't go anywhere. It's time for commercial. With smartphones and technology making life a little easier, the Snap Leash has also been designed to make life a little easier for you and your pup. Whether you're out on a stroll in the park, or possibly a walk through the city, or maybe even a hike up in the mountains, the Snap Leash is the perfect leash for you. The Snap Leash can easily and conveniently convert into 7 types of leashes, making the Snap Leash the most convenient leash in the world. What other leash do you know that is 7 leashes in one? With the Snap Leash having appearances on the Today Show in New York City, TV 47 in Dallas, Texas, and ABC 4 on Midday, Utah, you are definitely going to want to take a peek at what the Snap Leash can do for you and your best friend. Make life a little easier for you and your pup, and visit www.snapleash.com today. Alright guys, we are back. This is K-Talk Radio 1640 AM. I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki. Our special guest is Jordan Atkin today. Jordan, I had somebody come in, a guest come in, I can't remember who it was. They said that if you don't have a nightmare story in real estate, you haven't been in real estate long enough.
That's true. It's like, do you want one from this week?
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel. Oh man. So as I've prepped before the commercial break. This is one of my favorite segments because I've literally learned, like, oh, that's a great tip, right? Like from guests that have shared their nightmare stories. So, if you don't mind diving in and sharing the nightmare story that you have for us today.
Well, we, as a real estate developer, there are properties that we purchase that are not vacant land.
Okay.
We are infill developers, so I am usually tearing down a house or some other type of small building in the city and building something larger.
Okay.
So we, as a result of my stories, we have changed how we do this. But earlier on, I was maybe overly optimistic of how quick the city was going to just say, yes, this is a great idea, Jordan. So we had these vacant houses,
okay.
Particularly a couple of them over in the Central 9th neighborhood, which is about 9th South, 2nd West here in Utah.
Gotcha.
In this one particular property, people just loved staying there, but they really didn't want to sign a lease, and they didn't want anyone to know that they were there, but they were really motivated to be there.
Got it.
So every day we would get an opportunity to go ask them to leave, board the property back up, and then hope they wouldn't come back.
Okay.
Well, so I ended up getting in almost a habit of going over to this street every day to deal with it. And one day, I got to see a fire truck.
Oh.
And
oh no.
I went and I looked at my property, and there was no roof anymore.
Oh no.
And it kind of had this black char look to it. And some people had broken in, which was really common.
Uh-huh.
And then they decided they were cold, so they started a fire on the 2nd level.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if they fell asleep or what happened, but the house then went up in flames.
Holy cow.
So pulling off the freeway to go look at it, there's smoke and carnage. I'm like, oh boy.
Oh no.
Hope that's not me. And it
Right.
ended up being us.
Oh my gosh.
So my house burned down.
Wow. Wow. The people, were they gone?
They had fled the scene, yes. We were not able to identify anybody, but the fortunate thing about it is no one that we can tell what was hurt.
Yes, no one's claimed
Yep, and
injury.
we got to it before any of the neighboring properties had been affected, but it was kind of scary. I'm glad I wasn't in there, and no one was, but it was still kind of a scary experience.
Gosh, no kidding. Holy cow. So, what was the plan with that building eventually?
Yeah, we
tear it down anyway?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, good.
Luckily, I wasn't too bummed. It might have saved me a little bit in demo cost.
Right, and no more tenants.
Yeah.
Unwanted tenants.
Well, they still like the property.
They still kept coming down.
They just hang out on the main level now.
Okay.
So yeah, we had intentions and ultimately tore it down and built a 18-plex there.
Got it. Very cool. 18-plex, very cool. Just to be clear, that part's the very cool part. Wow. So, did you, just kind of digging a little bit, fire, then I think insurance, did you take that route at all, or?
We chose not to claim it on our insurance. We really didn't have an intention on getting it back up to like rental or for sale condition.
Right.
So I didn't, and I don't know how all insurance work, but I was like, if I have a $80,000 claim, my insurance is probably going to go up for all of my other properties.
Right.
And since we didn't really need to repair it, we just boarded it up and then put up a fence, which seems to be a pretty smart solution to help some of these unwanted guests.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, piece of advice: if you have a vacant property, get a fence up, and then it's not very fun to hire a night security guard to drive by and keep an eye on it.
Ah, very nice, very nice. How about an alarm system? Did you guys look into that?
I haven't. We have that on some of our actual existing rental properties, but not on the vacant stuff.
Nothing that you cared if it got burned down anyway.
Yeah.
I actually have a buddy of mine. His dad is a developer down in Lehigh, Utah County. They bought, same kind of story, piece of land, nice big piece of land that had a house on it. And the goal was to eventually demo the house and develop the land. But in the meantime, he thought, let's put a tenant in there and make a little cash flow. Thanksgiving rolled around and these tenants decided to fry a turkey and burnt down the house. And so then he went to his son and said, well, we should file an insurance claim. And they're like, yeah, great idea. And then they discovered, oh, we never got insurance on that house because we just thought we were going to demo it. So they didn't have the opportunity to rebuild it because they still were quite a ways out. In fact, I don't think they've ever developed it yet. So it's just still a burnt house right there in Lehigh somewhere. He's like, I wish we would have gotten insurance knowing what I know now. But eventually we'll demo it, so then we won't care as much. Got it. Okay, so then you have these fire engine people, firemen, over at your house. Any type of, like, I know people that have gotten, what do you call it, tickets or fines from not having their building secured. Did any of that happen?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It did.
We really do try our best to stay in compliance with the city code about, board up procedures.
Yeah.
But I can't help when people break in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a constant battle, but between, and we work with the city officials, but yeah, we end up getting fined quite often for these projects.
Gotcha. I had a couple of vacant houses that, we boarded up, and you do a screw instead of a nail because a screw is a lot harder to take out, but it's not like a homeless guy can't find a screwdriver.
These people who want to come and stay in your properties, they are very ingenious about how to get in.
Yes.
I am shocked at the amount of effort they will make on a daily basis to reside in your home.
Yes.
It is wild.
Wow.
Like, if you just spent a little bit of that energy in the right direction, think about where you and the world would be.
Yeah, it's so true. So true. So I had a gentleman who broke in. We boarded it up. We weren't ready to remodel it yet, and to be honest, it was actually already boarded, and we kind of just made it more secure because we could tell that there was riffraff that had come in and out when we purchased it. So we're like, oh, we better board this better. So we end up boarding it better, and then somehow, some way, and I don't remember how I found out if it was a notice or I don't remember, but a squatter broke in and started living in there. Mm-hmm. And he thought that if he went and paid that year's taxes, that he'd get to own the home. And he did. He went and paid
it?
Yeah, that year's taxes. Actually, he paid part of it.
Oh.
He didn't have the whole amount.
Sure.
He paid part of the taxes so he could have a receipt that showed and proved he paid part of the taxes on that home. And it was interesting because, he didn't have an attorney.
I had something like that. We actually had a property, maybe this would have been a better story, but we had a property in South Salt Lake where the tenant, we had the end of lease came and that tenant moved, and then when we went back, we had a new tenant. It was his buddy, and his buddy, the old tenant, had given this guy supposedly permission to live there.
Oh.
We're like, well, you don't have our permission.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah.
And they were actually really nice, and hey, let us show you because we've done some improvements. We actually painted this wall and replaced this carpet in this room. Do you think you could reimburse us for it? I am not kidding you. I got an invoice from a squatter for the repairs that he had done to a property that he was illegally staying in.
Amazing.
You can't make this up. So we shut off the power, and I don't know what they must have been like a squirrel climbed up to this 40-foot pole, somehow got temp power, tied back into the house, and they were running everything off of those commercial plugs with they're half inch wide and has 6 sockets on it. They ran the whole property off of that thing, stealing power from the neighbor.
Amazing! Like you said, the energy that they spend in this direction.
Oh man!
If they just switched gears.
Yeah.
Wow.
They ended up staying there for 8 months. It was actually really hard to get them out because they kept claiming that they had a right to stay there by from the other landlord, from the other tenant. Sorry.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Wow.
So you get all sorts.
Yeah, yeah. So did you have to go through the normal eviction process?
We did.
Got
we
it.
Did, yeah. And that still didn't really work, and we ended up just like paying them $1,000 with the sheriff in tow to just please leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
Oh yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
There is actually a video on YouTube. The news shows up. It's a squatter. The landlord's same scenario. Tried to been getting them out forever and ever. News shows up and the person comes out. Is like, yeah, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. And yeah, just crazy how that can happen. Okay, cool. So we're gonna take another commercial break. When we come back, we're gonna hear a little bit about who Tag SLC is. Jordan is the owner, CEO, starter, founder of Tag SLC, and Tag SLC does some amazing stuff. So we're going to hear about Tag SLC when we come back. You're not going to want to step away. We will take a quick commercial break. Hi, I'm Yoshi Shiraki, the author of the book My Body's Just For Me, the book written for children to educate children on the prevention of child abuse. With the assistance of multiple best-selling author Richard Paul Evans, we were able to publish this book as a tool to help break the ice in an easy and innocent way to help children understand and learn how to speak up and communicate. I've been invited numerous times on the Good Things Utah to discuss the importance of good communication with your child in regards to abuse, and also to discuss how the book, My Body's Just For Me, is a great tool for every parent when having that tricky conversation with their children. For more information on the book, My Body's Just For Me, please visit www.protectourangels.com today. And remember, the more we focus on prevention, the less we'll have to focus on rehabilitation. All right, guys, we are back. This is K-Talk Radio 1640 AM. I am your host, Yoshi Shiraki. Jordan Atkin is our special guest. Jordan, you've got an amazing company out there, Tag SLC. Can you please tell us a little bit about what Tag SLC does, who you guys are?
Sure. Tag SLC is a local real estate development and investment company focused primarily on ground up multifamily in Salt Lake City proper.
Got it. Got it. And when did you start it?
Well, in some form or the other, it's been with me since 2010 when I first got into real estate.
Got it.
Then I think in 2014 we pivoted from the existing brand to become Tag SLC, and that's what we've been ever since.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. One of the things that I've learned from you, actually, and really like what you do, is you've mastered a sandbox. Like when I've had these conversations with you, or you've talked about it in your mastermind, it's really genius because you know your sandbox, the numbers, the square footage numbers, I mean, like better than anybody else. Like you said, people that are flipping in Provo to Ogden, you've refined this sandbox. Did you do that just out of curiosity when you were flipping as well?
Yeah, for the most part. If you go back, even in St. George, but we'll focus on when I was here in Salt Lake. When I moved here, I was overwhelmed with how big the market was and all the opportunities and how to understand the nuances of, what cities and zip codes and, even streets, frankly, are more desirable. So I spent the first little bit of my time here in northern Utah in Salt Lake area, just driving around trying to get accustomed to the neighborhoods, and I was just really attracted to Salt Lake City, the old historic homes, but then also just the general vibe, being the capital city. Yeah. There's a little bit more to do and experience, in my opinion, here in the actual city as opposed to some of the suburbs. So,
sure.
I like that, so I actually bought a home in Salt Lake City and started flipping homes in Salt Lake City, and just really haven't left, and have just continued to do different types of deals, but still I really try to be north of the 80, east of the 15, and my little 4 square miles.
Absolutely. So when you flipped, did you ever go out of that?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. When I was flipping, we did some more entry-level homes, but really my focus in business was all east side, higher end, 500,000 plus type houses, which are more predominant in Holiday, Mill Creek, and Salt Lake City area.
Got it. And now that you're doing multifamily, do you ever sneak out of that?
Yeah, we're doing a 60-unit townhome project in Clearfield.
Okay.
But I've done stuff in North Salt Lake, but it's still the main thing I'm interested in Salt Lake. I now have my office in Salt Lake City. I live in the 9th and 9th neighborhood. I go down to the city at 4th and State all the time, and I drive around a lot, so I can just hit all my projects in a pretty 6-8 minute drive without having to go all over the place. So that was a big decision. We actually decided we would rather stay geographically specific, where we really feel like we have an understanding and of what's going on, rather than just continue to do larger deals where we would have to step outside. So if a no-brainer comes up, will we look at it? Yeah, but we would really prefer to be in the city.
Got it. Okay. Are you looking to expand your Sandbox a little by little, or is this the plan as of right now, just to stick there?
I'll be honest, I still have more ideas and opportunities presented to me than we have investment capital to take advantage.
Got it.
So I can't even do, there is no shortage of opportunities. People who can't find a deal, you don't know what you're looking for.
Right.
We pass on 30 or 40 opportunities for every one that we say yes to, and still most of them are in the city. So
got it.
Until the spigot is just on a dribble and I can't really find a deal, I think we'll continue to try to stay here.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. Is there a place that the listeners, let's say somebody out there is thinking, oh, that's the kind of place that I want to move to. Maybe they're thinking about moving and they want to be closer to downtown. I don't know if you have I know you have a website, but I'm not sure. I checked it out the other day. I didn't see, and maybe I need to click through more, but I didn't see pictures of what you do, like stuff of what you look like. And for the listeners, is there a place they can go to see what projects Tag SLC has up and coming, so that they can be on the radar for your product, whether they're going to rent from you or buy from you?
Yeah, my company is really more geared toward the investment side and helping people achieve financial freedom through passive income.
Gotcha.
So as a result, that's probably my website's not good at the best of day, but it's really not good about helping the real end user, because we're much more geared toward helping individuals with the passive income component and being the conduit of how to invest in Salt Lake City real estate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you want to know about those projects, just check out our website or email me directly, jordan@tagslc.com.
Got it.
Always happy to get on a 15-30 minute call with people who want to know more about what we do and how they could be involved.
Wonderful. Awesome. So I remember in a conversation, I think it was actually when we were touring your house. No, it wasn't then. Maybe it was when we were touring the other, we had at our mastermind, one of the Capitol, right? And you were sharing with the group how you're practically fully occupied on the one that we did tour back earlier. How are those people finding you? Is there a waiting list, or they're just going to property management companies, KSL?
For anyone in Utah, I think KSL is kind of the go-to, and Rentler and Zillow. So people who would want to engage with us that way would interface with our property management company, and we work with several.
Gotcha. So I think, and that's, you made a great point there. Like, I probably, if I would have thought really hard, realized it, but just not thinking really hard, I didn't realize it. You, as Jordan Atkin, are more of the deal with the investors who invest, and then you've got a team who will then help find the occupants of your product.
I just like my niche of Salt Lake City proper, I really believe in staying in your lane. If you were a tenant who wanted to rent, you probably wouldn't want to engage with me, because I would just say, this is the square footage, this is the price. I'm not like soft, touchy-feely, like, oh wow, look at this closet that you can put all your wood or whatever. Like, here's a wall to hang your picture.
Right, right.
So yeah, there are people on our team who are highly specialized at helping people, understand that vision. So I stay in my lane and let them do what they're great at.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. What would you say is then, speaking of in your lane, your favorite part of real estate? Is it the development side? Is it if I remember correctly, you recently shared that you're looking more for remodeling versus ground up these days. If I'm not mistaken, the whole economy has kind of changed a little bit of everyone's gears. What's your favorite thing to do?
Yeah, how I think about it is real estate's my job, and investing is my hobby.
Okay.
So the financial aspect of it is my favorite part. Sitting down with someone and understanding what their goals are and how, whether it's with us or just advice on how to do it on their own, helping them kind of get that light bulb moment where they see that this is a path that they could do to either, improve the situation of their family and, start building toward, passive income and financial freedom.
Yeah.
That's really my favorite part. And so for those individuals, I love development. It's a brutal game. I'm a sucker for punishment. It's not easy, but there's just something about taking, even like remodeling, but like on steroids, taking something that was and having a vision of what it can be.
Yeah.
That's what I am truly passionate about, and I can see in my mind how the city has the potential to evolve.
Right.
And I want to be part of that change, and I want to make an impact here in Salt Lake and Utah.
Got it. Okay. Very cool. I love that. You mentioned it's a brutal game. I hear time and time again from developers, zone changing is just painful. It's a waiting game.
Yeah.
I've heard numbers that the average zone change can take 12 months. Is that pretty accurate?
In Salt Lake,
Salt Lake,
we're doing one right now, changing from industrial to a mixed use project up in the Marmalade neighborhood, and we will be over a year just in the application process. I think we just got set to go in September in front of the city council. So,
wow,
yeah, you're talking 12 months is a starting point, and it could be 18 to 24 months.
Gotcha.
Just on permitting and stuff, the fastest project I've got through from the day we closed to the day we were able to start building, if we were prepared, was 8 months.
Wow.
So it's not for the faint of heart, and you really don't have a lot of certainty of, depending on the project. You don't have a lot of certainty of outcome in a lot of ways, so you kind of have to hedge your bets.
Gotcha. Okay. We are getting towards the end of our show here. The people that are listening out there, we probably have some listeners who have invested in single family. They may own a rental or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20. And they've been considering getting into the commercial multifamily. What kind of advice do you have for, these are not people that are like, I want to buy my first rental property. These are people that have a rental portfolio in the residential world that are now entertaining whether they liquidate that to go up, to roll up, or just go up. What kind of advice do you have for people?
So people who have an existing understanding already.
Yeah.
One thing, we invest passively in other, they're called sponsor or general partners opportunities. I think that would be a good way to get some level of exposure to a different type of deal without you having to, take the reins. If you've been, renting single family homes and you want to get into multi, I probably would not advise you to go start with a ground up development deal on your own.
Gotcha.
There's a big learning curve.
Yeah.
So just understanding kind of the process, even if it was just a value add on, like a 40 or 50 unit.
Yeah.
I think finding someone who you align with their values and their strategy, and being a participant in that deal would be a great way.
Got it.
But I do want to make a point of people who aren't in that position.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you, the game is rigged toward help the rich get richer. It really is, and it's a disadvantage. You are at a bigger advantage if you do have more than when just starting out. But the way to actually get started is so easy. First, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. It'll teach you most of what you need. But learning to live on less than you make is the keystone principle of my success and the success that I have seen all of my investors have. Is you have to learn to be disciplined enough to put something away, to actually save it, so that you can get that going. And then once you can get to that point and get in that habit, it gets a lot easier, and then doing what I do is easy relative to that first step.
Right. I love that. And you're known in our mastermind group for living less than what you make. Far less. Josh loves asking you what's your monthly expense. Yeah. I realize that. About twice a year you get asked by Josh, what's your monthly expense these days, Jordan?
I pay myself a salary of $3,000 a month.
Amazing.
And luckily we're in a fortunate position. We do a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
But it's ingrained in my soul, and I really truly believe in it, and I want to walk the walk and do what I say. So
right.
Just live well within your means, and regardless of your income level, it's not the dollar amount, it's the percentage.
Sure.
Figuring out a way to save at least 10% of your take home, and ideally 20%.
Yep.
Regardless of how much, because I know people who make $1 million, $2 million a year, who don't have as much as someone who's a teacher, who's a diligent saver, and it's a paradigm.
Perfect. Love that advice, guys. That is some serious advice. All right, Jordan, we're at the end of our show. How can people get in touch with you if they wanted to reach out to you? Maybe, I don't know, invest with you. I'm not sure what you're looking for, but how can people reach out to you? Yeah,
just email me.
Okay.
Jordan at tagslc.com, tagslc.com. That I will respond to you. You can also check us out on our website, tagslc.com. Give me a call, and if I can help you on your journey, happy to do so.
Perfect. Excellent. Guys, if you've missed any part of this show, you can check it out on our website. We post it all over social media. You can go to utahhomesweethome.com, scroll down to the bottom to the YouTube icon, and you can watch Jordan. And you can see how young he is.
I'm in my 30s now, so...
Okay. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on, Yoshi. It's been a blast.
Awesome, thank you. It's been a blast for me, and I hope everybody has a spectacular weekend.